inside the ring. O'Connor and Flair. O'Connor with the slip. Oh, O'Connor jammed backwards. O'Connor jammed backwards into the steel ring post.
Volume 5 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling is in the spotlight. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick. The energy of Ric Flair, the skill of Pat O'Connor, the power of Ken Patera, the fire of Kerry Von Erich, the excitement of the girl wrestlers, Andre the Giant, plus a look at a classic confrontation for the World Heavyweight title at Kiel Auditorium in 1975. It's all here on Volume 5 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. But what was the heart and soul of St. Louis Wrestling? Well, you know as well as me. It was wrestling at the Chase. So let's go back to April 12th, 1981.
And your announcer, Larry Matisick.
The youngest of the three Von Erich brothers who have rocked the mat world is on Wrestling at the Chase today. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick, and Kerry Von Erich is back in St. Louis. Kerry may well be ready to zoom right to the top, just as his brothers Kevin and David have done. Kerry is one of that new breed of professional athletes, only 20 years old, but tremendous poise and great skills. Kerry Von Erich on Wrestling at the Chase today, and Mickey Garagiola will introduce the opening bout right after this.
Welcome to Wrestling at the Chase, the opening bout, a one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Dunlap, Kansas, weighing 255 pounds, Bobby Jaggers. From Amarillo, Texas, weighing 237 pounds, Tommy Sharp. Referee Chuck Rowley.
Bobby Jaggers back against Tommy Sharp. Jaggers quickly with a side headlock, spins into a hammerlock on Sharp, but Sharp counters to a hammerlock on Jaggers, and Jaggers ends up in the ropes. Bobby Jaggers, tough customer, noisy, turbulent. Sharp sidesteps. Watch him a little bit, says Bobby Jaggers to referee Chuck Riley. Arm drag by Tommy Sharp on Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers, always combative, never takes a backward step. And I'll tell you, he had quite a winter down in Florida and the southern states. Recorded victory after victory. In fact, picked up a nickname, the Hangman, they started to call him after the hold that he uses to record many of those triumphs, as Tommy Sharp hangs on to the arm. Well done by Sharp. Count of one on the shoulders of Bobby Jaggers. In Florida, they call him the Hangman. Hangman Bobby Jaggers. And, of course, he has that maneuver he uses if he can catch a man coming off the ropes, where he nails him with that forearm underneath the chin and rides him backwards, clotheslining him or really hanging him, and I guess that's why he picked up that nickname. Jaggers throws Sharp to the rope, misses with an elbow. Another arm drag by Tommy Sharp. And Sharp, living up to his name right now, looking very sharp against Bobby Jaggers. Sharp stretches out that arm on Jaggers. Jaggers still complaining that his hair was pulled to referee Chuck Riley. Riley tells Jaggers that it is Riley who is the official, the referee, not Bobby Jaggers, despite what Bobby Jaggers might prefer. Jaggers puts some pressure underneath the chin of Sharp, then throws him across the ring. That elbow scored. Tommy Sharp takes a hard jolt. Jaggers with a flying elbow drop, misses. Arm drag again by Sharp. Alert work from Tommy Sharp. He was stunned from the first elbow smash, but he avoided the second elbow, and he's back in command after the arm drag. Jaggers spins off his back, gets onto his knees. It's a little bit easier to retaliate from that position, and at least his shoulders are off the mat, but Sharp still has good leverage on the hold. He leans into that shoulder. Bobby Jaggers, he's usually never at a loss for words. He puts his forearm across the chin of Sharp, trying to push back, loosen up the grip on that hold. Oh, and then Jaggers grabs the hair and slams Sharp into the top turnbuckle. Jaggers moves behind Sharp. Atomic knee drop that Sharp blocks beautifully. Well done by Tommy Sharp, getting those legs out quicker than Jaggers could drive his tailbone into Jaggers' own knee. Good fast work by Tommy Sharp. He took advantage of his height there, got those legs down and blocked the atomic knee drop. That could have put Sharp into a lot of trouble, but instead it's Sharp who's in charge, and the crowd yells and urges on Tommy Sharp. And once again, by the way, the KPLR TV studio is packed. People standing everywhere. A packed house for Wrestling at the Chase. Sharp twists Jaggers' arm. Leaning into that wrist now. Nice counter by Jaggers. Sharp counters, and down goes Jaggers. Leg drop into the shoulder by Tommy Sharp. It was a good counter by Jaggers, but Sharp had the answer to come right back. Sharp pulling back on the arm, and Bobby Jaggers' left shoulder has been taking a beating in the opening moments of this match. Jaggers pushing Sharp backwards. Jaggers very strong, a lot of weight there, and he knows how to use it. Forearm smash to the jaw by Jaggers. He whips Sharp out of the corner, and Sharp reverses that whip. Sharp charges in. Oh, and Jaggers was waiting. He caught Sharp right in the eye with the heel of the hand, and then he pounds on the stomach and in the face of Tommy Sharp. Bobby Jaggers opening up, pounding on Sharp. Flying mare by Jaggers. Knee drop to the chest. It was not on the throat. If it had been the throat, it would have been an automatic disqualification, but it's on the chest, as Chuck Riley indicates, showing where that knee drop landed, on the chest. Nonetheless, it's pretty effective. It'll knock the wind out of an opponent, especially from someone as big and strong as Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers ducks underneath and lifts Sharp for a body slam. Again, the knee drop by Bobby Jaggers. 3 of those knee drops, and you can hear Sharp gasping for wind. Jaggers squeezes the head of Tommy Sharp. Better ask him, Riley, says Bobby Jaggers to the referee. It's not a strangle. You can see plenty of daylight in there around the windpipe.
5 minutes of elapsed, 5 minutes left.
Rough, tough Bobby Jaggers against Tommy Sharp, and right now it's Jaggers in command. The first 3 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit more, belonged to Sharp, as he was having good success with the arm bar and the arm drags. Jaggers really twisting that head now. Riley checking carefully. Boy, you can see how that neck would be hurting right now. Jaggers has the head all twisted around. Sharp squirming a little bit, trying to get out of there. Now it's on the throat. Riley says, get that elbow off the throat. Now he's got his hand in there, and apparently it's legal again. Riley keeping close eye on it, and you have to give Chuck credit for that. He's staying right on top of the situation. But Jaggers wearing Sharp down now, bending that neck and twisting Sharp down. You're going to have to start watching Sharp's shoulders pretty soon. Sharp trying to kick his way out of trouble. Gets the left shoulder up. At least he's on his side now. He doesn't have to worry about being forced down for a pin. But he does have to worry about getting out of this hold. Whoop, down goes Sharp, and you had a perfect look at it. Unfortunately for Tommy Sharp, the referee was on the other side, and he could not see through the bodies of Sharp and Jaggers. Jaggers taking advantage of that fact. Sharp trying to kick out of it. Jaggers really squeezing that head, and of course that has to make you think about his hangman maneuver. If he can punish the neck and the head, it's all that much more effective if he gets the opportunity to do it. Jaggers rolls Sharp over. He thinks Sharp's out. Count of 1, 2, and Sharp gets the shoulder up. I think Jaggers thought that he had Sharp unconscious, and he just quickly went for the pin, but it didn't turn out to work. That knee, though, certainly worked. It was right on target, right into the neck. Jaggers lifts Tommy Sharp. Hard smash to the neck again. A kick to the neck, to the back of the head by Bobby Jaggers. Sharp reeling. And now Jaggers pulls back on the nose and the mouth of Tommy Sharp.
3 minutes left, 3 minutes.
Sharp taking some lumps right now. Jaggers grabs Sharp, throws him through the ropes and out of the ring. Nearly into the first row. Bobby Jaggers, after some early difficulty, seems to have things rolling pretty good right now. He has the momentum against Tommy Sharp. Sharp rolls back under the ropes. There's Jaggers right back on top of Tommy Sharp. A punch to the jaw from Bobby Jaggers on Tommy Sharp. Sharp slammed into the top turnbuckle by Jaggers. Jaggers pounds on the stomach of Tommy Sharp. A elbow smash to the top of Sharp's head by Jaggers. Well, I'll tell you, if he's been looking like this in his outings throughout the Southland, I can see why he's had victory after victory. Sharp trying to fight back. Don't get too cocky, Mr. Jaggers. This young man, Tommy Sharp's got a temper, and he never quits. Oh, that one was right in the mouth, and Jaggers is checking the bridge work. Sharp, a forearm smash, spins Jaggers to the corner. Jaggers slammed into the buckle himself. Down goes Jaggers. Sharp goes for the pin. Count of 1, and Jaggers throws Sharp off. Sharp arm whips Jaggers to the ropes. Oh, that knee came up and down when Tommy Sharp, while Sharp was waiting to try the backdrop. Jaggers whips Sharp to the ropes. Look out! There's that hangman right across the forehead of Tommy Sharp. The hangman by Bobby Jaggers. And then he drives that forearm down across the forehead a second time. Jaggers covers Sharp. And that's it. Bobby Jaggers with the hangman hold. The winner over Tommy Sharp. A solid chorus of boos for Bobby Jaggers. But you had to be impressed when he got in trouble. He got out of it. And he has a victory. Here's Mickey Garagiola.
In 8 minutes and 39 seconds with the hangman hold, the winner, Bobby Jaggers. The first main event, a one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from Topeka, Kansas, weighing 252 pounds, Art Cruz. And from Germany, weighing 277 pounds, Von Raschke, referee Lee Warren.
In the best of moods, Von Raschke is usually furious. And Mickey Garagiola just ran out of that ring, and I think he's leaving the studio. Raschke nearly trampled him while Mickey was introducing Art Cruz. Raschke, enraged, he has been ever since a recent tag match, which he and Big John Studd were together and got into an argument, and it cost Studd and Raschke the match when Raschke got punched in the jaw. So Von Raschke, not at all in a good mood as he does battle with Art Cruz. What a challenge it is for young Art Cruz. They'll lock up. Raschke goes underneath. Fireman's carry. Nicely done by Von Raschke. He covers Cruz, but Cruz gets a shoulder up. Raschke moves behind Cruz. Cruz might be able to sit out. Raschke trying to force him down. Cruz reached up for the arm, couldn't get it. Raschke rides Cruz down. Grapevines the leg and then goes into a body scissors on Art Cruz. Don't ever kid yourself about Von Raschke. He may have one of the shortest fuses in wrestling, but this man can wrestle. Don't kid yourself. And as promoter Sam Muchnick said a couple of weeks ago when we interviewed him here on Wrestling at the Chase, he saw Raschke in a big match at Minneapolis, a crowd of over 17,000 people on hand when Raschke knocked off a 400-pounder Crusher Blackwell. Raschke's main events everywhere, and he wants to get on top here in St. Louis. Raschke complains to referee Lee Warren that Art Cruz didn't break quickly enough. Raschke and Cruz tie up again. Arm drag by Von Raschke. There's a perfect example of what we mean. And look at that smile on Von Raschke's face. He's proud of himself. A perfectly executed arm drag by Von Raschke. Arm drag by Cruz. I don't think Raschke's smiling now. Von Raschke ties up with Art Cruz. Cruz forces Raschke to the ropes. Art, strong, young, aggressive. He's pushed down by Raschke. Raschke is ready to throw a kick, but Cruz is up too quickly. Raschke smiles. Oh, I wouldn't break the rules. Not I, says Von Raschke. Sure, we know. Nice leg trip by Von Raschke. He can wrestle. He twists the leg of Art Cruz. Trying to step over maybe. He could almost go to a half crab on Cruz from that position if he wanted to and if he were able to. Cruz pretty strong though, and he'd be struggling against it. Raschke twisting that leg. Cruz kicks Raschke away. And Raschke glares at Art Cruz. It doesn't take much to get Raschke to explode. He's like a volcano in there. Mickey, I thought you'd had it. I'm glad to see you back. I thought you left the studio for good.
I tell you what, those legs of mine were really starting to move and the body wouldn't follow.
Oh, I didn't know if you'd been thrown out or if you were running out of that ring you got out so fast. Hey. Count of two. Oh, Cruz, very close. Has to keep that shoulder up. Lee Warren trying to keep an eye on everything, especially the shoulders of Cruz. Cruz gets that shoulder up. Warren catches Raschke pulling the tights, and he pushes Cruz back on top. Cruz squeezing the head. Great opportunity here for Art Cruz. He's been coming along real well, adding experience to the natural gifts he has. A win over a guy like Von Raschke, boy, would that be a feather in the cap of Art Cruz. Cruz twisting Raschke's head. Cruz trying to lean over the shoulders of Raschke. Maybe he can put those shoulders down. Art has a lot of weight, 252 pounds. Maybe he could force those shoulders of Raschke down. Von Roschke's certainly one of those who would like a crack at the winner between the world heavyweight champion Harley Race and the challenger Nature Boy Ric Flair. How about that one? All of the eyes in wrestling are on St. Louis because it's Race against Flair. Roschke waiting with a forearm to the back of Cruz's head, knocks Cruz's head over heels, and then Roschke begins stomping on the head of Art Cruz. A knee to the neck of Art Cruz by Von Roschke, a kick to the head by Roschke. Cruz trying to fight back, lands a blow to the midsection. Cruz on his knees, but fighting back against Roschke. 3 punches have now scored to the stomach, and Roschke having trouble getting his breath. Cruz pounds on Roschke. Roschke with a chop to the throat. That's one tough man there in Von Roschke. Roschke forces Cruz back over that rope and then chops at Art Cruz. Roschke the forearm to the neck, and then a punch to the jaw of Art Cruz. Roschke whips Cruz to the ropes, catches him coming off with a knee lift to the stomach by Von Roschke.
5 minutes have passed, 15 minutes left.
5 minutes have passed after that elbow drop from Roschke, but Cruz pushes Roschke off. Cruz grabs Roschke by the hair and slams him into that top turnbuckle. Roschke grabs Cruz, throws him into the ropes, onto the apron and out of the ring. Art Cruz pitched out of the ring by Von Roschke. Well, he's in a foul mood right now because Roschke is so irate and so furious at what's been happening to him in St. Louis. Well, Art Cruz is taking his lumps because of it. Roschke stomping on Cruz. Cruz can't afford to let Roschke get going. If he's really rolling, it's going to be tough to stop him. Cruz has to cut Roschke off. There's the suplex by Roschke on Cruz. Roschke smiles. He knows he has things going his way right now. Cruz could be hurt. Leg drop, misses. Oh, I thought Cruz might have suffered a neck injury, that suplex, but Cruz managed to roll away from the leg drop of Roschke. A punch into the ribs by Art Cruz on Von Roschke. Cruz blasts Roschke in the stomach. Cruz knocking Roschke to the corner. A forearm smash by Cruz. He pounds on Roschke and whips Roschke across the ring into the buckles. Cruz charges in. Monkey flip, and Roschke's pulled right out of that corner and thrown to the center of the ring by the monkey flip of Art Cruz. Cruz lifts Roschke. Body slam. Now Cruz has it going. Try for a pin. Count of 1 at 2. Roschke throws off Cruz. Now it's Roschke who's reeling. Or is he? Oh, that Roschke's cagey. As wild as he can be, as short-tempered as he can be, he can think in there, and instinctively he seems to do the right thing in many occasions. A punch right to the jaw by Roschke. Cruz comes off the ropes with a forearm smash. This has turned into a knockdown, drag-out affair between Art Cruz and Von Roschke. That's what could just happen when Race and Flair are in there together. Lee Warren balls out Roschke for using the hair. There's no question why Ric Flair got that match with Harley Race. He has proven himself, and most recently by defeating David Von Erich with the figure 4 leg lock. Nobody else has been able to knock off David in St. Louis except the world champion himself, but Ric Flair did it with his favorite hold, the figure 4 leg lock. If it was enough to defeat David Von Erich, well, I'll tell you, it's enough to defeat Harley Race. And that gold belt could then very easily be around the waist of Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair calls himself the uncrowned champion. Well, he can prove it, but he's going to have to prove it to the man who has that gold belt and who's been in command of the throne for more than 4 years. But again, maybe that is to the advantage of Nature Boy Ric Flair. Young, aggressive, ambitious, tremendously hungry to wear that gold strap around his waist. Flair and Race for all the marbles. Look at Flair's record. Not only has he beaten David Von Erich, twice he's defeated Ted DiBiase. He's beaten 3 former world champions, Pat O'Connor, Jack Briscoe, and Dory Funk Jr. Add that to all the other victories Ric Flair has, and the flamboyant, gaudy, boisterous Nature Boy Ric Flair is poised right on the edge. He's going to take that last step, but he has to take that step over Harley Race. And it won't be easy. It will be war. A best-of-3 falls war when Nature Boy Ric Flair tries to take that gold belt from Harley Race. Roschke bridging and then using the hair, keeping Art Cruz down. Von Roschke. Saw him once wearing a t-shirt It says, "I know I'm cute." You form your own opinions. You had a good look at him right there, thanks to the fine camera work here at KPLR TV. Whether you think he's cute or not, I'll tell you one thing, he's tough. He's good. Roschke bridging again to keep those shoulders up. Look at him bridge, and that gives him the opportunity to use the hair. Lee Warren catches him and says, "Get out of that hair." Roschke comes up on top of Cruz and stomps on Cruz's head. Von Roschke, the punch to the forehead of Art Cruz. Oh, and Cruz almost lost his balance there, went backwards. Roschke grabs Cruz underneath, lifting him to the air. Where is Roschke going with Cruz? Backbreaker. Oh, and it was a dandy. A beautiful backbreaker by Roschke. Count of 1, 2. Cruz kicks Roschke off, and Roschke getting angry again because Cruz wasn't down for a count of 3. That was a heck of a backbreaker. That was a good one, right on target. You can see him driving the back into the knee.
10 minutes have elapsed, 10 minutes left.
Roschke pitched into that corner, and Cruz with a backflip tosses Roschke down. Cruz covers Roschke. Try for a pin. Only a count of 1, and Roschke gets away. Cruz with an uppercut, that forearm banging home on the chin of Roschke. Roschke hurled into the corner. Cruz charges in. Oh, Roschke got right out of the way, and Cruz crashed into that top turn. Look at Roschke's hand. He's poising that claw. The iron claw, the brain claw, as he calls it, the brain claw of Von Roschke. Roschke with the brain claw, and Art Cruz. That's Roschke's favorite. He says it's the best claw in wrestling, better than anything the Von Erichs can do, according to Roschke. Roschke digging in with that claw on Art Cruz. Cruz trying to struggle out of it as Roschke digs into the temples and the forehead. Cruz down on his back. Roschke digging in with the brain claw. Look at the muscles in his neck straining as Roschke pours on the pressure with the brain claw. Cruz, the referee checking his arms. He's out. He's out. And Von Roschke with the brain claw defeats Art Cruz. He saw the opening for it, and Roschke with the claw is the winner over Art Cruz. Roschke wins it. Here's Mickey Garagiola.
In 10 minutes and 59 seconds, the brain claw, the winner, Von Roschke. The second main event, a 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from St. Louis, Missouri, weighing 229 pounds, Mike Blood. And from Denton, Texas, weighing 249 pounds, Kerry Von Erich.
Two young men with a lot to gain square off as Kerry Von Erich takes on Mike Blood. Kerry swatting out at the head of Blood. Boy, look at that physique on Kerry Von Erich. What a build. He's Superman, believe me, without the cape. Side headlock by Blood on Kerry Von Erich. Blood pitched to the ropes. Flying tackle by Blood. Drops Kerry Von Erich. Here he comes again. Kerry ducks underneath. Kerry waiting with a hip toss, and he bounces Blood to the mat. Arm drag by Kerry Von Erich. Head scissors by Mike Blood. Well done. Kerry Von Erich bridging to keep those shoulders off, then spins around, trying to keep these shoulders off the mat. Chuck Riley checking that the head scissors is not becoming a strangle on Kerry Von Erich. Fast action there between Blood and Kerry Von Erich. How can somebody that big with that many muscles move as fast as Kerry Von Erich did? He kicks out of the head scissors, and he's up quickly. Mike Blood wants to think about that situation a little bit. Blood retreats a bit. Rolling toe hold by Mike Blood on Kerry Von Erich, but he can't keep the toe hold. Von Erich a little too quick. He gets away, and Blood is upset, frustrated. I can understand why. He did that toe hold beautifully, but it still didn't keep Kerry Von Erich down. He tried to bend that leg, and there was so much muscle, the leg didn't bend. Oh, body drop into the knee by Kerry Von Erich. Kerry steps into the leg snap, yanking back on the hamstring of Mike Blood. Blood forces Kerry Von Erich into the corner. A shoulder slammed into the stomach of Kerry Von Erich. Mike Blood driving that shoulder in there. Flying mare by Blood on Kerry Von Erich. And then he hooks the head. Talk about potential contenders for who's the world heavyweight champion is after Race and Flair square off. Well, Kerry Von Erich would certainly like his name included on that list, along with people like, well, Dick Murdoch. Who else will we add? And there's so many more. Ted DiBiase, Dick the Bruiser, any of the Von Erich boys. Oh, did you see that bench press by Kerry Von Erich? Guess we better include Dusty Rhodes in that list, too, because I understand that Dusty Rhodes is coming to St. Louis soon. Kerry Von Erich circling, tying up. Better not forget Big John Studd. He wants his name included. Von Roschke. Front face lock by Blood. Oh, look out! Suplex by Kerry Von Erich. Oh, what a suplex by Kerry. But Blood rolls away from the elbow drop. And Blood again with the front face lock on Kerry Von Erich. Kerry and one of his brothers, David, certainly have a very important match coming up against the Kelly twins. That's certainly unique in itself. Brothers versus brothers. The Kelly twins against the Von Erich brothers, Kerry and David. Of course, you know that Pat Kelly had to step in as a substitute at last second's notice against Kerry Von Erich. He was beaten by Kerry, but he wants revenge. Both of the Kellys want revenge. They say Pat certainly wasn't prepared for the match, had no idea it was coming. He just did it as a favor to promoter Sam Muchnick, stepping in at the last second when Ox Baker wasn't there. Well, the Kelly twins can get their revenge on the Von Erich family, and you can bet they intend to do it, because together the Kelly twins are as good a tag team combination as you'll find anywhere. The Kellys against the Von Erichs, brothers versus brothers, a unique match. Kerry and David Von Erich against the Kelly twins, Pat and Mike. A big challenge for both duos. And talk about unusual tag team combinations. Well, how about the one Dick the Bruiser and Bulldog Bob Brown on the same side against Bobby Jaggers and Dick Murdoch? Boy, there's a stormy combination. The Bruiser and the Bulldog together as partners. It's happened once before, and they were a good team. Oh, knee drop to the forehead by Kerry Von Erich on Mike Blood. A forearm smash to the back. A hard punch to the jaw drops Blood. I'll tell you, Kerry Von Erich's got a lot of his dad in him. He's got a short temper himself. If you play rough with Kerry, he'll play rough right back. Kick to the stomach by Mike Blood. Front face lock again on Kerry by Blood. Blood pitch to the ropes. Oh, drop kick by Kerry Von Erich. He caught Blood on the side. Didn't get all the way fully up to catch him in the face, but he got him in the side. And there's the Iron Claw. The Iron Claw by Kerry Von Erich on Mike Blood. Blood gets to the ropes. The Iron Claw that was invented by Kerry's father, Fritz, was used so well. It is now a major weapon for all of the Von Erichs, Kerry included. Blood quickly got to the ropes. Blood complaining about what Kerry was doing, but the claw is legal. He says he was also working on the eyes. Kerry says, no, no. Blood buying a little time, though.
5 minutes expired, 5 minutes left.
Blood pulls Kerry Von Erich down. He has the arm and the head tied up. Kerry struggling to his feet. Mike Blood giving quite a good account of himself against Kerry Von Erich. Kerry thrown head first into that top turnbuckle. Again, Blood bounces Kerry's head off that top buckle, and then a chop to the throat by Mike Blood. Blood opening up. He throws an elbow that misses. Kerry goes behind Blood. Oh, a reverse suplex. A reverse suplex, tossing him from behind instead of a hip toss. Kerry tosses Blood to the ropes, catches him with a stomach claw, catches him with the stomach claw, digging in with that stomach claw. Kerry Von Erich, look at this, lifting him with the stomach claw into the air. A stomach claw in the air, and then a backdrop while applying the stomach claw. Do you believe that move by Kerry Von Erich? Blood gives up to the stomach claw, and I don't think I've ever seen a stomach claw done quite like that. You talk about power. Kerry trying to get those fingers loose to grip out of the stomach of Mike Blood. He dug into the stomach, lifted Blood into the air, and then dropped him backwards while still applying the stomach claw. Do you believe that? A victory by Kerry Von Erich. Here's Mickey.
In 5 minutes and 53 seconds with a stomach claw, the winner, Kerry Von Erich.
Let's watch again that stomach claw of Kerry Von Erich. Amazing how he's lifting a man weighing 230 pounds. He's digging in there with the stomach claw and Mike Blood, getting underneath him, still all that pressure to the stomach. Then he lifts Blood into the air while still applying the stomach claw. He probably could have gotten a submission right there from Blood, but that wasn't all. Look at that. Slamming him down to the mat, digging in with the stomach claw to get a victory. Now let's join Mickey Garagiola in the ring.
The final bout, an Australian tag team match, most falls to curfew. Introducing from St. Joe, Missouri, weighing 252 pounds, Bruce Reed. From Boston, Mass., weighing 270 pounds, Rufus R. Jones. From Toronto, Canada, weighing 251 pounds, Mike Kelly. And also from Toronto, Canada, weighing 252 pounds, Pat Kelly.
The identical, I can't even say it, the identical twins, the Kelly brothers, Pat and Mike, against Rufus R. Jones and Bruce Reed, two top tag team combinations right here, because Reed and Jones have been together quite a bit of late in the Midwest and have been recording many victories. Nice takedown by one of the Kellys on Reed. Reed counters with a hammerlock. It's Mike Kelly who's in there with Bruce Reed. Actually, Rufus R. Jones has more or less taken Bruce Reed under Rufus's wing, giving him some tips, some pointers, some advice. A little help to the young man trying to battle his way to the top and doing quite well at it. Kelly flying around that ring. Reed flying around that ring. Everybody moving. Look out! Arm drag by Reed. Well done by Bruce Reed as he outmaneuvers Mike Kelly and comes up with an arm drag. Well, you have to give the Kelly twins credit. They're certainly not backing down from the tough competition. Today, Bruce Reed and Rufus R. Jones, an upcoming bout against the Von Erich brothers, Kerry and David. And I'm sure they were paying attention to how Kerry won that last match with that stomach claw into the air and then a backdrop. You can bet they'll be guarding their midsections from Kerry Von Erich in that match. Mike Kelly nimbly to his feet, tosses Reed down. Reed hangs on, but a tag is made to Pat Kelly. Mike Kelly hangs on to Reed's head, and Kelly bangs a knee into the back of Bruce Reed. Front facelock by Pat Kelly on Bruce Reed. He uses the chancery to take Reed down. Count of one, but then Reed throws off Pat Kelly. Kelly quickly back on top of Reed. Reed lifts Kelly and slams him. There's another guy with tremendous power, Bruce Reed. We put all the muscles together that Kerry Von Erich and Bruce Reed have. Well, we'll have enough left over for you and me, Mickey. Here comes Rufus, and Kelly doesn't know it. He knows it now.
That's right.
Rufus twists that arm around. Kelly kicking out. Nicely done by Pat Kelly. Pat tags his identical twin, Mike. When we say identical, boy, we mean it. You see those two guys standing next to one another, you don't know who to hi Pat or hi Mike, or you don't know who's which. The amazing thing about the two is that their styles are so similar, and it makes it difficult in tag matches because they do so many things the same way so well. They complement each other so well. Now, they're tough in single matches, no question about that, in individual combat. When you put them together, I'll tell you, the sum is greater than the parts in many cases. And that's not meant derogatorily in any way, because they are tough on their own, one against one. But together, they're dynamite. They're hard to handle, the Kelly twins. They have so much experience as tag team. And that certainly does not bode well for the Von Erichs, David and Kerry. Sure, they've had a lot of experience together too, but probably not as much as the Kelly twins have had. Rufus R. Jones puts Kelly in that corner with a forearm smash. Oh, Rufus has the beard. He twists Mike Kelly around and tries to pull out the beard. He'd be doing us a favor if he did, because then I can tell one Kelly from the other.
I agree with you.
Rufus jiving and moving. Pat Kelly moves behind Rufus, pulls Rufus R. Jones down. Rufus, another man who has to be thought about when you talk about contenders for who might be the world champion after Flair and Race clash. Could this be it for Harley Race? Is this finally the moment? Everybody agrees that Ric Flair has what it takes to be the world champion. Forget about the robes. Forget about the bragging. Forget about the strutting. Forget about the fancy cars, the fancy clothes. Look at what Ric Flair can do inside that ring. The solid fundamentals taught him by Vern Gagne. Many of the strategies of the feelings for what goes on that ring picked up from Buddy Rogers. Plus his own style, the many things that he can do so well, the suplexes, the elbow drops, the figure four leg lock, which defeated David Von Erich and earned Flair this opportunity. The figure four leg lock that's been so important, but still the good fundamentals are there. Look at all the times Flair has won a big match, a critical match, with a quick cradle. And he has victories over many of the good ones, the great ones, as you watch Rufus Jones be double-teamed by the Kelly twins. Look at Flair's record. 2 wins over Ted DiBiase, a victory over David Von Erich, 3 former world champions beaten by Ric Flair. Rufus R. Jones lifts Kelly off the top. Race knows this is as tough a test as he could ever have. It's Race versus Flair for all the marbles, the gold belt.
5 minutes have passed.
5 minutes remain in the curfew. We check with Mickey. Yeah, that's right. 5 minutes remaining in the curfew. No falls yet. Whichever team has the most falls when time expires, they will be the winners. Side headlock by Bruce Reed on Mike Kelly. Reed squeezing the head of Kelly. Reed twisting that neck. And of course, you know that Bruce Reed has developed a very potent sleeper hold. That's something the Kellys can worry about. Nice takedown by Kelly. Good moving around that mat by Bruce Reed. Pat Kelly wants to make a tag. Reed stops it by hooking the arm. The Kellys still trying to tap fingers and get that tag made. But not really any way it can be done. No, feet don't count. Chuck Riley stops him. Sorry, folks. The crowd hoots and hollers at the Kellys. That was a good idea. Nothing lost by trying, I guess. The referees aren't about to let that happen. And while they were arguing, Kelly and Riley, that is, Bruce Reed dragged Mike Kelly away from his brother and over to the corner where Rufus R. Jones is. So if there's any tags now, it'll be Reed and Jones. But Mike Kelly trying to scoot his way across that mat and get over to his brother. Mike Kelly very close to making that tag. Pat reaching in. He makes the tag. It was made. And then Mike Kelly hangs on to Reed so that Pat Kelly can bang away on the back of Bruce Reed, a knee to the ribs of Reed by Kelly. Kelly covers. Only a count of 1 and then 2 before Reed throws off Pat Kelly. Forearm smash to the jaw by Pat Kelly. Reed trapped in the corner. Pat Kelly with a front face lock. Tag made to Mike Kelly. Pat hangs on to Reed. Again, the Kellys double teaming Reed. Reed trying to fight back, a forearm smash to the back by Kelly, and then he grabs the head of Bruce Reed. Look at him stretching out that neck. Really trying to punish Reed. Another quick tag, keeping a fresh man in there. The Kellys working smoothly now, working like a tag team machine, really. A knee lift by Mike Kelly. Pat Kelly covers. Rufus R. Jones getting angry. Count of 2. Oh, and I mean by about a half of a second, Bruce Reed manages to avoid being pinned. We nearly had the first fall right there, and it nearly went to the Kelly twins. Pat Kelly with that front face lock. They're wearing down Bruce Reed. That quick tagging is starting to take its toll on Reed. This time, Reed further away. Here comes another tag. The Kellys working smoothly right now.
2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
There are 2 minutes remaining in the curfew. Still no falls, but Reed sinking ever so slowly into trouble. He could stand a tag with Rufus R. Jones. That double arm lock could easily be turned into a suplex, and that's what Reed's struggling against. Oh, he yanks Reed down. A lot of power right there by Kelly. Reed scores the punch to the stomach, and he heads to Rufus R. Jones. Here comes Rufus, and he's on the warpath. He whips Kelly to the ropes, catches him coming off, and flips him over the top. Rufus gets that freight train rolling. Flying tackle. Here comes Rufus again. A flying tackle. Tag made to Bruce Reed, and Reed can get some evens right here. Drives that fist into the bridge of the nose of Mike Kelly. Kelly tossed to the ropes by Bruce Reed. Elbow smash to the chin.
One minute left. 1 minute.
Reed grabs Mike Kelly, pitches him to the ropes. Oh, the drop kick misses. The drop kick by Reed missed as Mike Kelly sidestepped. Here comes Pat Kelly tagged into the ring. Oh, it just looked like Reed and Jones had it going. Look out, small package. The small package by Reed. Pat Kelly that'll break it up, and Rufus R. Jones is after Kelly. All 4 men in the ring as Jones came to his partner's rescue. Pat Kelly yelled at his brother. Both Kellys grabbing Reed. The referee's chasing Rufus back. The Kellys waiting. They try to clothesline Reed. Reed comes up with a drop kick and floors both Kellys. Rufus. All four men in the ring. Jones and Reed, both Kelly twins. The Kellys battling with Reed and Jones. Reed flattens one Kelly with a dropkick. Pat Kelly and Rufus R. Jones and a Donnybrook. Headbutt by Rufus. Pat Kelly fighting back. One Kelly whipped into the other. Rufus grabs Pat Kelly. Leg drop by Reed. Donnybrook inside the ring. Kelly and Jones trading blows again. This match, the time of it has expired. The match is over and it's going to be a draw. The Kelly twins against Reed and Jones. Some hot and heavy action right there. Let's make it official and hear from Mickey.
With time running out, the referee declares the match a draw.
Another real globetrotter is Andre the Giant. In Philadelphia, Andre was alone for a handicap match against Jose Estrada and Johnny Rodz.
When promoter Sam Muchnick had the chance to sign an historic international battle for St. Louis at Kiel Auditorium on August 8, 1975, he did it. Everybody in wrestling wanted to know what would happen in the rubber match between Jack Briscoe, the World Heavyweight Champion, and the Giant Baba when they clashed. Well, St. Louis was the capital of wrestling, so there was a logical place for Briscoe and Baba to have the rubber match in their battle for the World Heavyweight Championship. At the end of 1974, Briscoe had gone on a tour of Japan, and on the first night, December 4th, in Kagoshima, Japan, Baba defeated Briscoe for the world title. It was a huge upset. Luckily for Briscoe, he had another match signed with Baba at the end of that tour, and on December the 10th, Briscoe regained the belt. The rubber match didn't happen until August 8th, 1975 at Kiel Auditorium. From our library, we have highlights of this match. It's a little rugged in spots, but it will tell you the story of what happened when Briscoe met Baba at Kiel Auditorium. The action has begun between Jack Briscoe and the Giant Baba, the World Heavyweight Championship at stake. This is the rubber match. Baba beat Briscoe. Briscoe beat Baba. Now, Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis, the wrestling capital of the world, is the site for the rubber match between Baba, Japan's top superstar, and Briscoe. Baba with a big size advantage over Briscoe. The Giant Baba, 6'9", 314 pounds. Jack Briscoe, a splendid athlete, but you're talking about somebody who's 6'1" and 230 pounds. So Briscoe definitely had a disadvantage there. And watch Baba reverse the hammerlock into a wrist lock on Briscoe. Baba was always greatly underestimated as a wrestler. A big, tough, strong man. A test of strength here between Baba and Briscoe. Who will prevail? Well, think of the size difference. Jack can use all the leverage he wants to, but when you give away that much height, you're in trouble. Briscoe, though, begins working on the legs. Briscoe trying to chop down the Giant Baba with a hamstring snap. Jack Briscoe putting the pressure on the first fall in this best of three falls battle. The leg split by Jack Briscoe. Briscoe twisting Baba's leg. Then an elbow drop into the knee and hamstring muscle. Briscoe going for his figure four leg lock, but Baba with a chop to the throat drops Briscoe another chop by the Giant Baba. Briscoe reeling, trying to keep his feet as Baba chops away at the throat of Jack Briscoe. Briscoe throws Baba to the ropes. Flying tackle by Giant Baba. Here he comes again. Briscoe goes behind. Reverse rolling cradle perfectly executed by the World Heavyweight Champion, and Jack Briscoe has the first fall of a best of three falls battle. Referee Bobby Whitlock raising Briscoe's hand. The first fall belongs to Briscoe. Beautiful wrestling by the champion. Baba coming right back with chops to the head of Jack Briscoe. Remember, we got this film out of our library. We apologize perhaps for some of the little bumps and yips that'll be in there, but it tells the story of what was a great historical night for wrestling in St. Louis. The Japanese media all over ringside, both television stations, newspapers, as the Giant Baba tried to become the World Heavyweight Champion. For the second time, he'd beaten Briscoe once. He wanted to do it again. Briscoe covered by Baba. Whitlock in to make the count, but Jack Briscoe kicking out. Briscoe struggling. Those chops to the throat had taken a toll on Jack Briscoe. Briscoe, a former national amateur champion from Oklahoma State University. He actually got into wrestling in high school. He had a football coach when Jack was a freshman, and the football coach suggested that Jack do something to stay in shape for football. Jack started wrestling as a sophomore, and he captured the Oklahoma State title as a sophomore in high school. And even though he was a football all-state choice, wrestling was the choice that Jack Briscoe would make as a career from there on out. Baba with a high kick to Briscoe. Briscoe down. Baba covering. Briscoe, knowing exactly where he is in the ring, used the ropes to save himself from a potential pin. Nerve clamp by the Giant Baba briefly. And remember, these are highlights as we move along. Briscoe throwing a left hand to the stomach of Baba, fighting desperately from underneath, trying to take Baba down to size. Look at the size differential between Baba and Briscoe, but Briscoe always had fire, always had hunger, was always willing to scrap for what he wanted. Flying tackle by Briscoe. Here he comes again. Oh, and he walks right into the lariat, the clothesline by the Giant Baba. Baba covers Briscoe, count of 1, 2, and 3. The second fall belonging to the Giant Baba. Briscoe in trouble here, the World Heavyweight Championship, hanging by a thread. Jack Briscoe trying to keep that gold belt. Baba has won the second fall. It's 1 fall apiece in this rubber match at Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis. Remember, we're talking August 8th, 1975 when this match happened. Jack Briscoe trying to recover. Baba waiting patiently. Now starting to move. The bell is sounded. Baba right on top of Briscoe. A chop again to the head by the Giant Baba. Briscoe staggering to one knee. Briscoe in real trouble. Another chop by Baba. A big, strong man. He was a cultural hero in Japan. The Giant Baba passed away a couple of years ago, and they actually opened up one of the 20,000-seat arenas in Japan. People filed by to see pictures of Baba. They actually sold out the arena to see pictures of Baba after his death. Baba with a reverse neck breaker on Jack Briscoe. The Giant Baba trying to become World Heavyweight Champion. Briscoe kicks out. Briscoe whipped to the ropes by Baba. Another chop by Baba. Another whip to the ropes. Briscoe goes beneath. Drop kick by Jack Briscoe. Baba floored. Briscoe hits the ropes again. Both men collide head on. Down goes Baba. Down goes Briscoe. They each have a count of 10 to come to their feet. It was Briscoe who was up first, but then when he went for the knee drop, he missed, landed on his own kneecap. Baba trying to take advantage of that. Jack Briscoe's speed had been an advantage for him throughout the match, and now he's trapped in the half crab of submission hold by the Giant Baba, but Briscoe struggles to the ropes. He's thrown against the ropes. Baba misses with his clothesline, but then when Briscoe goes for a giant splash, he runs right into the upraised knees of the Giant Baba. Just when it looked as though Briscoe had the advantage because he'd avoided the pinning hold of Baba's second fall, Briscoe walks right into trouble. Side headlock. Oh, shades of Lou Thez. Greco-Roman back body drop by the World Heavyweight Champion. He cradles a leg, and Jack Briscoe with a classic Greco-Roman back body drop has defeated the Giant Baba, and Jack Briscoe is still the World Heavyweight Champion, one of the greatest champions of all time. Here he is, Jack Briscoe, celebrating a big victory over the Giant Baba in 1975. Two of the finest World Heavyweight Champions in history were Pat O'Connor and Ric Flair. They had different styles, different attitudes, different ways of getting the job done. So naturally, when Pat O'Connor and Ric Flair met on Wrestling at the Chase, it was a classic moment. Let's join the action. Let's join the entire program. In fact, the main event is Flair against O'Connor. The date is May 10th, 1981.
Put on your sunglasses because flashy nature boy Ric Flair is one of the headliners on Wrestling at the Chase today. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick. Nobody can surpass Ric Flair when it comes to flamboyance or self-confidence. But Flair can back it up. He'll have to back it up today because his opponent is former world champion Pat O'Connor. O'Connor knows all the tricks, and he'll be more than a handful for Ric Flair on Wrestling at the Chase today. Mickey Garagiola introduces the opening bout right after this.
The opening bout, a 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from St. Joseph, Missouri, weighing 253 pounds, Bruce Reed. From Dunlap, Kansas, weighing 257 pounds, Bobby Jaggers. Referee, Eddie Smith.
Bobby Jaggers opposes Bruce Reed. Good matchup. Two young guys with a lot of spunk, a lot of fire. Bobby Jaggers and Bruce Reed. A circle. Reed a bit the taller of the two. Reed tried to push Jaggers to the ropes. Jaggers sidestepped, and it was Reed who took the trip to the ropes. Some of the crowd yelling for Bruce Reed, and that seemed to upset Bobby Jaggers. Arm drag by Reed. Jaggers complains that his hair was pulled. Referee Eddie Smith ignores it. Bruce Reed, all sorts of power there. You talk about a package of muscle, boy. That's what Bruce Reed is. And he can move. He can move. Jaggers twisting Reed's arm. Bangs an elbow into the shoulder of Bruce Reed. Slams that forearm up underneath the shoulder of Reed. Reed leaps over and kicks out. Down goes Jaggers. Jaggers would like to find something to complain about. Really can't. Couldn't get to the hair, not from that position. Reed's a big man, but his arms aren't that long, I'll guarantee you. Side headlock by Jaggers. Spinning off that headlock into a hammerlock. Nicely done. Good counter by Bruce Reed. Jaggers goes to the ropes. Come on if you want to box, says Bruce Reed. Short-tempered Bobby Jaggers prepares to come to grips and does come to grips with Reed. Again, twisting that arm over. Reed countered. Oh, he flung Jaggers down to the mat, and then with a leg drop into the arm, it's Bruce Reed with an arm lock on Bobby Jaggers. He really flipped Jaggers there. Shows you the power he has. It was like snapping a towel or snapping a type of cable or something, the way he snapped that arm of Jaggers and put Jaggers down. Look at that physique on Bruce Reed. Bulging muscles. Think all the hours, those lonely, hard, sweaty hours in the gym, pumping the iron, lifting weights to develop that type of physique, that type of power and muscle. Bruce Reed leaning into that shoulder now, twisting the arm a little bit, putting pressure right from the elbow through the shoulder. Jaggers tries to put some force against the head of Reed, pushes Reed back into the corner. Reed will have to release the arm lock. Forearm smash to the jaw. Reed pitched across the ring. No! Reed reverses the whip. Jaggers comes out and goes for a trip. Compliments of Bruce Reed. Arm drag by Reed. Bruce Reed moving smoothly in the early minutes of the match against Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers, though, is a tough customer. He can take some punishment and he can dish it out. Reed drops his knee into the shoulder of Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers tries to put some pressure on the chin of Reed without much success. Reed twisting that arm. Jaggers onto his knees. But as long as Reed's standing and Jaggers is on his knees or down, Reed has that extra balance, that extra leverage to make the hold even more effective. Jaggers knows it. That's why he's trying to get up. Mickey Garagiola is pointing out some of the scars on the forehead of Bobby Jaggers. Well, it's a rough business, and I doubt you could get along, talk to any top-line wrestler who hasn't had stitches put in that forehead or in the face somewhere or some part of the body. Talk about a guy like, say, Dick the Bruiser, who's been around a few years. All the Donnybrooks he's been in, I'll bet he's had 150 stitches in his head. And a guy like Harley Race, the world champion, probably double that maybe. In fact, there's so much scar tissue on Harley Race's head. Oh, Reed pitched through the ropes and out of the ring by Bobby Jaggers. Reed trying a flying tackle. Jaggers sidestep, clouded Reed in the back and knocked him right through the ropes and out of the ring. Bruce Reed trying to regain his bearings outside the ring. He has a count of 20, and he's taking his time getting back up there. There's Jaggers to grab him and snap that throat into the top cable. Bobby Jaggers on the attack against Bruce Reed, banging away with knee drops into the midsection. Reed on the apron. Jaggers stomping on Reed, kicks him off the apron and down to the floor. Bruce Reed again knocked out of the ring by Bobby Jaggers. Remember, the count outside the ring on the floor is 20. On the apron, it's 10. Eddie Smith making the count. Reed taking a walk around that ring, going to buy a little time, regain his bearings, get his breath back. But there's Jaggers right back on the attack once more, turning Reed around, bending Reed backward, and slamming an elbow into the face, into the nose of Bruce Reed.
5 minutes have expired, 5 minutes left.
5 minutes remain, and the opening bout on Wrestling at the Chase as Jaggers brings Reed into the ring with a flying mare. Knee drop into the chest. It's on the chest, not the throat. The throat would be an automatic disqualification. At 2, Reed gets those shoulders up. A kick to the head from Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers has put Reed into trouble. Reverse neck breaker. The reverse neck breaker by Jaggers. This could be it. Count of 2 on. No. Reed powers his way out of it. Jaggers quickly back on top of Reed with a front face lock. But Bobby Jaggers came very, very close right there to knocking off Bruce Reed with the reverse neck breaker. Good thing for the muscle there. That's what got Reed out of that cradle after the reverse neck breaker. Eddie Smith keeping a close eye on the throat of Reed, wants to make sure that Bobby Jaggers is not strangling. And as usual with this fine crew here, you get a good close look at the action right on top of it, literally. Get any closer, you can check the bridge work on Bobby Jaggers. You can get in there and referee almost. Jaggers pulling back on that head. The reverse neck breaker was very effective for Jaggers. And if he can keep the pressure on the neck of Reed, maybe a second reverse neck breaker could spell doom for Bruce Reed. And it could spell victory for Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers smiling. He's happy. Match is going his way. Another knee drop to the jaw and into the chest. It was not on the throat. The referee indicating as much. Knee drop again off the throat. Jaggers covers Reed. Count of 2. And, I mean, he came within about 2.5 of being pinned right there. Flying mare by Jaggers.
3 minutes left. 3 minutes.
3 minutes remain between Bobby Jaggers and Bruce Reed. 3 minutes or less. And the way things are going right now for Bruce Reed, he's going to have to turn it around because he's getting himself into some trouble right here. It all started when Jaggers sidestepped a flying tackle by Reed, clouded Reed in the back and knocked him out of the ring. From that point on, it's been all Bobby Jaggers. Eddie Smith again, keeping a close eye on things. Checking the response of Reed. Reed, though, still in it. He's groggy. He's got that head pinched together, the chin forced forward into his own chest by Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers is strong. Maybe his physique is a little bit different from that of Bruce Reed, but don't let it kid you. He's a strong man. He's 255 pounds. You don't push somebody like that around, I'll guarantee you. Reed up to his feet, throws an elbow into the stomach of Bobby Jaggers. Flying tackle. Reed's got guts. He goes that flying tackle again. A second one drops Jaggers. Oh, Jaggers was waiting and catches Reed with a knee lift into the abdomen. Bruce Reed caught with a knee lift into the midsection by Bobby Jaggers, and again, Reed is in some trouble. 2 flying tackles did the job, but a third one turned out to be one too many because Jaggers was waiting, and he caught Reed with that knee lift in the midsection. Again, Jaggers pinching the face of Reed together. He rolls Reed over, trying to go for a quick pin. Reed gets that shoulder up. Jaggers not too happy about it, but it's going to take a lot more than that to put Bruce Reed down. That much I can guarantee you. Jaggers pounds on the face of Bruce Reed. Reed comes off the ropes with a smash of his own.
One minute left. 1 minute.
Jaggers again scores the punch to Bruce Reed. Jaggers grabs Reed, whips him into the ropes, catches him coming off, jackknife and cradle by Reed. Count of 1, count of 2, and Jaggers gets that shoulder up. Jaggers surprised by that jackknife and cradle of Bruce Reed. Jaggers lifts Reed to the air for a body slam by Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers lines Reed up. Flying elbow drop, but Reed rolled away. Reed rolled away, and the flying elbow drop of Bobby Jaggers was foiled. An elbow smash to the neck by Bruce Reed. Reed with a small package, the front rolling cradle. Count of 1, count of 2, and Jaggers pops the leg out and gets the shoulders up. Jaggers goes right for the eyes of Reed. Flying mare is stopped by Reed, backslide by Bruce Reed. Count of 1, and at 2, Jaggers again gets the shoulders up. 3 near pins by Bruce Reed in the last minute of the match. There's the bell, the time limit has expired. The match is a draw, but Reed and Jaggers, oh, they had those heads down low and cracked heads together. Jaggers and Reed both flattened after that impact. The match is a draw between Bobby Jaggers and Bruce Reed, and both men will have to clear the cobwebs before they leave this ring. Here's Mickey Garagiola.
With time running out, referee Eddie Smith declares the match a draw. The first main event, a one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from Wellington, New Zealand, weighing 237 pounds, former world's heavyweight champion, Pat O'Connor. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 245 pounds, Nature Boy Ric Flair. Referee Charles Veneta.
A lot of eyes in the wrestling world are on this one. Pat O'Connor against Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair removing still another gaudy robe from his collection. I'd like to see this guy's closets. He must have a dozen closets in his house. He's that made for the robes.
I just want to get the clothes that they have these clothing drives on.
Yeah, we'd like to take what he gives away to Goodwill.
You better believe it, Goodwill comes after me.
Nature Boy Ric Flair against former world champion Pat O'Connor. O'Connor sidesteps Flair, and Flair is pushed to the ropes, and Pat O'Connor does a little strut for the Nature Boy. Well, Mr. O'Connor knows a thing or two about ring psychology. And if Flair thinks he can fluster O'Connor, well, he better give it another thought. O'Connor steps aside. Arm drag by O'Connor. You gotta give Nature Boy Ric Flair credit, boy. Frying pan into the fire. A tough one today in Pat O'Connor. Missouri State Champion Ted DiBiase coming up. Flair could really be on top of the world. Or he'd be knocked right down that ladder several rungs. Pat O'Connor and then Missouri State Champion Ted DiBiase, a best-of-3 falls duel. The Missouri State title on the line, but more than that, and as valuable as the Missouri title is, there still is something that maybe means just a hair more, and the man who comes out on top when Flair and DiBiase are done may be the next logical contender for the World Heavyweight Championship belonging to Harley Race. Remember that Flair and Race went to a spectacular one-hour draw. They battered each other, and when the final bell sounded, it was Flair who had just scored with a suplex on Race. Each man had earlier taken a fall. Flair with the figure-4 leg lock, Race with an inside cradle. Flair tosses O'Connor to the ropes. Flying tackle levels Flair. Arm drag, and O'Connor looks sharp today. Flair gets that shoulder up. So when Flair and Race met, the match was a one-hour stalemate. When Race and DiBiase met, do you remember that one? A bizarre, controversial duel. Harley Race lost. By disqualification, though, so Race kept the world title and gold belt. But what happened in the third fall of that match will long be remembered in St. Louis wrestling annals. The referee, Charles Veneta, was accidentally knocked out of the ring when DiBiase hit him with a flying tackle. While Veneta was down on the floor, Race intentionally threw DiBiase over the top rope. Veneta, who was trying to regain his bearings out on the floor, saw it happen. He was nearly clobbered when DiBiase went over that top rope and nearly landed on top of Veneta. Flair trying to hip toss O'Connor. O'Connor blocking it nicely. Again, the hip toss blocked by O'Connor. Arm drag by O'Connor. And back to that Race and DiBiase affair. While the referee was outside the ring, and after DiBiase had been pitched over the top rope, DiBiase got back into that ring. Race tried a suplex. DiBiase slipped away, scored with a back suplex, and referee Lee Warren, who had run down to ringside to aid Veneta, saw that Race's shoulders were down, and Warren counted 3 on the world champion. It looked to everybody as though Ted DiBiase was the new world champion. But it wasn't to be, because just as Warren counted 3, Veneta was up on his feet calling for the bell to disqualify Race for throwing DiBiase over the top rope. No question, it was the right call, and Ted DiBiase himself admitted it. But what a bitter disappointment it was for DiBiase. He thought the gold belt was his, but it wasn't to be. Race still has that gold belt. DiBiase nearly took it away. Flair nearly took it away. What more logical matchup could there be than Flair against DiBiase, the best of 3 falls? Don't forget that Flair, in the only 2 times he has met DiBiase before, has beaten him. So DiBiase has that extra added pressure. Does Flair have the number of Ted DiBiase? Flying tackle by Pat O'Connor. Flair ducks underneath. Oh, Flair tried a hip toss. O'Connor blocks it. spins Flair around. Backslide. Nice move by the former world champion. Count of 1. And Flair manages to slide his arm out of the backslide. And Flair steps outside the ring. He's got to think about this a little bit because Pat O'Connor has obviously come loaded for bear.
This is the kind of treatment I get in St. Louis. Pulling my hair.
Ric Flair complaining that his hair was pulled about the treatment he gets here. Okay, Flair's arguing and complaining, but maybe he has a little ulterior motive here. He's been thrown off balance by Pat O'Connor in the first few minutes of this match. He needs to more or less realign himself with what he's doing to think his strategy through, and he's bought some time right now by arguing with the referee and with us.
5 minutes of elapsed, 15 minutes left.
O'Connor and Flair lock up. Flair twists that arm. He's a little happier now. Oh, O'Connor breaks the grip. Down goes Flair. O'Connor with the arm bar on Flair, and Flair becoming angry at his inability to keep a hold on former world champion Pat O'Connor. O'Connor knows what it's all about. O'Connor knows everything there is to know about what happens inside that ring. Don't forget, he had the gold belt for 2 years, for 2+ years. He knows about the pressure of the big matches, and he'd like one more crack at the World Heavyweight Championship. Don't you think that if Pat O'Connor could knock off Nature Boy Ric Flair right here, that he would be in line for a crack at Harley Race and the gold belt? O'Connor knows it. He is primed. He is ready. Flying tackle. Oh, Flair catches O'Connor with an elbow smash. That one shook Pat O'Connor. Flair grabs O'Connor by the chin, lifting him to the air. A chop to the chest, trying to knock the wind out of Pat O'Connor. A knee lift right into the solar plexus, and then a front face lock by Nature Boy Ric Flair on Pat O'Connor. That forearm bone right against the jaw of O'Connor, perfectly applied by Nature Boy Ric Flair. He knows how to hurt people, believe me. The day he has to hurt O'Connor, and he still has Ted DiBiase to contend with too if he intends to get back at Harley Race. Flair's not without his supporters. Don't kid yourself about that. There are a lot of people who like Nature Boy Ric Flair, who cheer for him. And when Flair and Race were going at it hot and heavy, I think that crowd was about 50-50 as to who they were cheering for. Flair doing everything he can to jerk that neck, to stretch out the neck of Pat O'Connor. Flair cinching it up tight, hooking the arm, trying to roll O'Connor onto his back, get him onto the shoulders. Flair leaning into it, putting his full 245 pounds against the arms and the neck of O'Connor. Trying to get O'Connor down. Referee Charles Venator right on top of it, trying to look in there. O'Connor, though, keeps balance. Even in a hold, Pat keeps those legs spread apart, the knees apart for extra leverage. He lifts himself up. Flair twisting the head. Low suplex by O'Connor. Oh, he bounced him. But Flair takes the jolt and keeps the front face lock on Pat O'Connor. Flair twisting that head. Venator checking the throat. It's clear, and Flair yelling some abuse at O'Connor. You want to be a big man? Flair trying to force O'Connor down. O'Connor takes a knee drop to the back of the head. A knee drop to the back of O'Connor's head by Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Come on, baby doll.
Come on, baby doll, says Ric Flair. He's feeling more confident now. Those first 5 minutes belonged to O'Connor. But now with Flair concentrating the attack on the neck of O'Connor, on the head of O'Connor, Flair seems to have taken charge. O'Connor hooks the head of Flair. Maybe he can reverse the hold, come up with a front face lock of his own. Pat has a lot of strength in those forearms and biceps. Do you ever feel that guy's grip? Mickey, did you ever grab him by the arm? You know, he's been talking to him, just grab a guy's arm like you do sometime. Boy, he's like steel cables. Pat O'Connor has tremendous power in his grip. So Flair better be careful to keep the balance.
The only thing I'm interested in is how his grip is on his wallet. That's the only thing I worry about being a waiter. You know what I mean, Larry?
You're worried about Pat's grip on his... How is his grip on his wallet?
Very good.
Very good. He has a good grip on his wallet.
He signed Sam Mutchick's name to all the checks.
Oh, an elbow smash to the head by Flair, and then he hooks O'Connor with that front face lock again.
The man has really got a grip. There's no doubt about it.
Well, he's a good tipper, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Pat?
All wrestlers are. I think they are the top tippers. And
I would think Ric Flair might be the best. I know he goes out somewhere to a fancy restaurant or somewhere to eat. He goes for the finest. Doesn't kid about it. Comes to town, makes sure he has a limousine waiting for him. Remember once he had to go back to Minneapolis, his hometown, for the wedding of a good friend of his. He had to wrestle that night, so he chartered his own jet to go from Charlotte, North Carolina to Minneapolis. Had the jet wait for him at the airport in Minneapolis, went to the wedding, attended the reception briefly, then flew back to Charlotte, North Carolina for a main event that night, and won. That's Ric Flair. He does it with style, my friends.
That's what you call a classy guy.
Forearm smash by Nature Boy Ric Flair. He pounds on Pat O'Connor. O'Connor pulled out to the center of the ring, and once more the front face lock.
10 minutes have expired, 10 minutes left.
Flair keeps his shoulders up as O'Connor tried to cradle him, but just couldn't get that leg. O'Connor underneath again for that low suplex. O'Connor pulls his head out. The head is free. That low suplex finally did the job. O'Connor spins Flair, trying to go for that backslide. It nearly worked before. Flair struggling against it. He's finally forced down. Lifts the arm right out, though. It was worth a try. It almost worked before. No question about that. Flair with a forearm smash. O'Connor with one. Flair and O'Connor. O'Connor hooks Flair, and both men go tumbling over the top rope and outside the ring. Flair and O'Connor both outside the ring. A heavy spill over that top rope. Neither man really in control of his body. They both went tumbling over the ropes. An elbow smash to the head by Flair. O'Connor pulls Flair back down and slams O'Connor into the ring apron. O'Connor trying to get back into the ring after slamming Flair into the apron. O'Connor reaches out for Flair, but it's Flair who grabs O'Connor, and Flair has O'Connor outside the ring and jams his knee into the steel ring post. Ric Flair jamming the knee of Pat O'Connor into the steel ring post. Flair ramming that knee into the post. Oh, Flair spotted an opening, and he's just like a shark going after blood. Flair punishing that leg around the ring post, and Pat O'Connor walked right into trouble there as Flair grabbed O'Connor and slammed that knee twice and then twisted it around the ring post. Flair punishing the leg of Pat O'Connor, spins it around the toe, going for the figure four leg lock. O'Connor breaks it, pulls that forward, try for a pin, but the legs of Flair are free, could not be cradled. Flair going for that leg again, trying to go for the injured leg of Pat O'Connor. O'Connor trying to keep his balance. O'Connor, seeing a wound on Flair's forehead, begins to pound on the head of Flair. And Flair bleeding from an earlier wound that had been opened in a match. The head of Ric Flair opened up by Pat O'Connor. O'Connor pounding on the bloody head of Nature Boy Ric Flair. O'Connor's knee is hurt. He knew he was in trouble, and he went right for the head of Flair. Flair bleeding, the blood pouring through the blonde hair of Nature Boy Ric Flair. Something else that Ted DiBiase can attack, maybe, but more importantly, it's something that Pat O'Connor, who's still favoring that leg, can attack. Flair, the blood streaming down his head. There's the sleeper! The sleeper by Pat O'Connor on Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair bleeding and trapped in the sleeper. Oh, both men go flying over that top rope again as O'Connor and Flair went to the ropes. Flair, the blood pouring off his head. O'Connor, oh, he almost lost his balance when he got up with that bad knee. Flair misses a punch. O'Connor with the sleeper outside the ring. The sleeper outside the ring. O'Connor and Flair. O'Connor with the sleeper. Oh, O'Connor jammed backwards. O'Connor jammed backwards into the steel ring post. The bloody Ric Flair. He's going for the figure four. Flair with a figure four on O'Connor outside the ring. The bloody Ric Flair with the figure four on Pat O'Connor outside the ring. The referee counting on both men. He's up to 15, 16, both men being counted on. Flair, the blood streaming down his face. The count's up to 19. Flair's in the ring. O'Connor with the injured knee is outside the ring. And Nature Boy Ric Flair has the victory. O'Connor counted out outside the ring. O'Connor has been injured, slammed backwards into the steel ring post, and then Flair applying the figure four leg lock outside the ring. O'Connor has been hurt. He can't straighten that leg out, and Ric Flair, even bleeding, had what it takes to come up with a victory. Let's hear from Mickey.
13 minutes and 40 seconds. Referee Charles Meneses counts out Pat O'Connor, the winner, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
When opportunity knocked, Ric Flair opened the door. In slow motion, let's watch. There's O'Connor with the sleeper hold on Flair outside the ring. O'Connor with the sleeper on Flair, trying to put Ric Flair away. Flair trying to lean into O'Connor, put his body weight against O'Connor. Suddenly, he shoves O'Connor back and slams O'Connor backward, the back of his head cracking against that steel ring post. Also, his back taking the jolt. O'Connor, the sleeper hold broken as the two battled outside the ring. O'Connor falling forward. The bloodied Ric Flair realizing now what he has done to Pat O'Connor. Flair sees those legs out, knows that O'Connor's knee has been injured, and outside the ring, Flair goes for the figure 4 leg lock and pours on the pressure on Pat O'Connor's injured leg. O'Connor had to be carried out of the studio. From there, Flair managed to beat the count back into the ring. O'Connor did not, and Nature Boy Ric Flair, who's with us now, was the winner. Rick, I guess you take victory in any form it comes.
Hey, when all my ladies are lined up all over the world, and I walk up to them, or I should say they walk up to me, they don't say, Nature Boy, woo, how did you win the match? They just want to know if I won. In the greatest sport in the whole world, I'm talking about professional wrestling, it's not whether you win or how you win. It's what the outcome is. And the outcome is always, in my case, Ric Flair on top, one way or another.
But against Harley Race, the match was a draw, even though I'll admit you came close.
Hey, what did you say to me in the hallway 5 minutes ago? One of the greatest matches in the history of Kiel Auditorium. Right or wrong?
It was a great match, tremendous match.
One of the greatest matches in the history of St. Louis. And for the last 5 minutes, where was Harley Race? Oh, no, no more, Nature Boy. No more, no more. That's where Harley Race was. Now, you know, I'm very upset that I have to stand out here, the golden mane covered in blood, and the Nature Boy a little messed up due to Pat O'Connor, one of Harley Race's stooge. And don't tell me any different, O'Connor. You went after my head. You saw I had stitches there. You went after it. That's okay, because I left you laying right there in the concrete. Now let's talk about St. Louis.
Let's talk about Ted DiBiase.
Let's talk about Teddy DiBiase. Let's talk about Ric Flair. There's only one man that can be the #1 contender. There's only one man that all the girls can say, woo, you are some kind of fine. There's only one man that's going to get back in the ring with Harley Race right here, and that's going to be me, not Ted DiBiase.
Don't forget, DiBiase almost took the belt from him, though.
That's right. Who beat DiBiase when I wrestled him here last time?
You beat him twice.
That's right. Twice I wrestled DiBiase right here, and twice the Nature Boy has won. Now, this time, that skinny little punk has got the Missouri State title. I'm going to beat him for that. I'm going to take the Missouri State title, and then I get Harley Race again. Race, your days are numbered. When Ric Flair says so, brother, it's as good as gold. What comes out of his mouth, no brag, just fact. Put it in the bank. What the Nature Boy wants, woo, the Nature Boy gets. I want DiBiase, I want the Missouri title, and I want Harley Race, and I want the most coveted trophy in all of pro wrestling, the NWA Heavyweight Championship. They're all going to belong to the Nature Boy in that order. DiBiase, the Missouri title, Race, and NWA title. Put it in the bank, brother. What comes out of Ric Flair's mouth is as good as gold. Because I don't mind sweating, I don't mind bleeding, I don't mind paying the price. As long as I get what I want, and what I want is the biggest gold of them all. Harley Race, be ready, brother, because the Big Daddy, woo, is coming your way.
Nature Boy Ric Flair, he'll pay the price to win. He certainly proved it today against Pat O'Connor. Ric Flair.
The second main event, an Australian tag team match, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Newark, New Jersey, weighing 239 pounds, J.J. Dillon. From Toronto, Canada, weighing 249 pounds, Mike Kelly. From Boston, Mass., weighing 265 pounds, Rufus R. Jones. From Denton, Texas, weighing 245 pounds, Kerry Von Erich.
J.J. Dillon and Mike Kelly clash with Rufus R. Jones and Kerry Von Erich. That's a popular duo. Has to be with Kerry Von Erich and Rufus R. Jones on the same side. Carey begins the action against Mike Kelly. Kelly pushes Carey into the corner. Kelly steps back cleanly. Carey very cautious. Carey twists that arm over on Mike Kelly. Twists it again. Kerry Von Erich. And puts pressure into the wrist. Nice move by Mike Kelly to throw Carey off balance. And Bizarre Jones yells some encouragement to Kerry Von Erich from outside the ring. Side headlock by Mike Kelly on Kerry Von Erich. Carey trying to come up with a wrist lock against Mike Kelly. Lots of muscle right there as Carey goes to the wrist lock, takes Kelly down. Knee drop into the arm by Kerry Von Erich on Mike Kelly. How about that nature boy Ric Flair? He's not lying when he says he'll pay any price. He'll bleed, he'll sweat, he'll take any bruise, any bump there is. He wants to get to the top. Boy, Pat O'Connor gave him a terrific match. Really did. But outside the ring when he had the sleeper hold on and Flair jammed O'Connor backwards into the ring post and Flair put on the figure four leg lock outside the ring. The referee hit 16. Flair released the figure four, got back in at 19. Count of 2 before Carey shoves Dillon off. Flair was back in at 19, but O'Connor was down on the floor, his knee crippled, and he had to be helped from the ring. I'll tell you, that figure four leg lock can do it. Don't forget that Ted DiBiase is the guy with his figure four leg lock. He put strongman Ken Patera in the hospital for knee surgery with a figure four leg lock. Imagine what happens if DiBiase gets that figure four on Flair, or Flair gets it on DiBiase. Can either one reverse it? Can they defend against it? Flair and DiBiase. Couldn't be a more important match because the winner is #1 for going for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jones knocks Mike Kelly back from the ropes. You bet Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, will be keeping an eye on that match as you watch Rufus try to pull out the beard of Mike Kelly. Dusty Rhodes will be watching that battle between DiBiase and Flair. And so will Bobby Jaggers, because Jaggers can leave the American Dream a nightmare if he knocks off Dusty Rhodes. Want some bruises? How about Big John Studd against Dick the Bruiser? There's a knockdown drag-out affair. Kerry Von Erich with the arm lock on Mike Kelly. Hey, and Studd or Dick the Bruiser would make a fine challenger for either the winner between Flair and DiBiase or the World Heavyweight Championship. Mike Kelly gets to his feet, pulls Kerry Von Erich into the corner and tags J.J. Dillon. Kelly hanging on Kerry Von Erich. Dillon pounds in the midsection of Kerry Von Erich. Flying Beal by J.J. Dillon. Tag made to Rufus R. Jones. They have an important match coming up too, Jones and Dillon. And Jones goes right to work on Dillon, dropping him. Tag made to Mike Kelly. Kelly walks right into a jolt. Another blast from Rufus R. Jones. A freight train begins to roll. And a second flying tackle. Jones covers Kelly. Dillon there to break it up. Kerry Von Erich's after Dillon. He flattens Dillon. Kelly has a full Nelson on Rufus Jones. He's yelling for Dillon. Dillon comes charging for a drop kick. Oh, and Dillon drop kicked his own partner. A drop kick by Kerry Von Erich knocks Dillon out of the ring. A flying tackle by Rufus R. Jones on Kelly. Headbutt by Rufus. Rufus covers Kelly. Count of 1, 2, 3. Rufus R. Jones and Kerry Von Erich bring this crowd standing and roaring to their feet. The drop kick by Dillon backfired, hit his own partner when Rufus slipped away from Kelly. Jones followed with a headbutt on Kelly. Jones and Kerry Von Erich are the winners. Let's make it official.
In 3 minutes and 51 seconds, the headbutt the winning team of Rufus R. Jones and Kerry Von Erich.
It's Bobby Garrett against Ted DiBiase. Garrett ducking underneath as DiBiase flies through the ring, goes behind Garrett again, lifts Garrett to the air for the atomic knee drop. This match took place in Atlanta, Georgia. Ted DiBiase thrown off by Bobby Garrett, arm dragged by Ted DiBiase, the man who is the Missouri State Champion, the man who wants another chance to relieve Harley Race of the gold belt, symbolic of the World Heavyweight title. Ric Flair wants that same thing too. You can see that Flair and DiBiase are on a collision course. There's no way out of it now. There's no way to stop it. The brakes are loose, baby, let me tell you. Flair and DiBiase, the best of 3 falls, a Missouri title on the line, a potential chance at the World Heavyweight Championship on the line, and a lot of pride too, because in the only 2 times they've met before, Flair beat DiBiase. DiBiase has to feel the pressure. You know, a lot of times in sports you'll see 2 teams that may on the surface look relatively even, but yet when they meet, one team always seems to come on top, and you have to wonder if it's a fluke or something in the styles, or just that one team or one man has the number of another. Well, that's what a lot of people wonder about DiBiase and Flair. DiBiase wants to change that line of thinking. Garrett, with an elbow smash, drops Ted DiBiase. He covers DiBiase, but only for a brief second. Garrett moving quickly, trying to follow up the advantage. Body slam. Oh, DiBiase hangs on for a small package. At the count of 2, Garrett gets away, charges in, but you cannot catch Ted DiBiase by surprise very often. He is alert. He is quick inside that ring, quick thinking, quick moving. Speed is one of the main things in Ted DiBiase's favor, as it is for our nature boy, Ric Flair. Both are willing to gamble, to take chances. It's DiBiase now with an armbar on Bobby Garrett, putting pressure in the wrist, while also bending back on the elbow. He switches the lock. Now the pressure's more from the elbow through the shoulder. Garrett grabs DiBiase by the hair and slams DiBiase head first into the top turnbuckle. Bobby Garrett, a rough man, hard to handle. His whip is reversed. DiBiase misses the drop kick, though. Garrett stepped aside. DiBiase missed the drop kick. Garrett wades in with a forearm smash to the back, tries to pull DiBiase out of that corner, does so and whips him into the buckles, catches him coming off with a backflip, and DiBiase is in trouble against Bobby Garrett. Garrett thrown off by DiBiase. Garrett moves behind DiBiase, lifts him to the air. Atomic knee drop blocked by the long legs of DiBiase, blocking the atomic knee drop and then scoring with a Greco-Roman back body drop. The Greco-Roman back body drop, the spinning toe hold now by DiBiase into the figure 4 leg lock. The same figure 4 leg lock that Flair used on Pat O'Connor outside the ring today. There's DiBiase inside the ring with the figure 4 on Bobby Garrett. Garrett submits, and Ted DiBiase with still another victory as the referee pries the legs apart. DiBiase is the winner, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
Want a taste of action from Wrestling at the Chase on August 2nd, 1981? Okay, 2 of the hottest stars in the summer of 1981 were Kerry Von Erich and Ken Patera. That's one battle from this program. And then if they still need a little bit more excitement, how about a girls tag team match?
The second main event, a 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Portland, Oregon, weighing 262 pounds, Ken Patera. From Denton, Texas, weighing 250 pounds, Kerry Von Erich.
A lot of eyes in the wrestling world are on this program right now, and on this match, Kerry Von Erich against Ken Patera. Patera taking his time, removing his tights. Little psychological edge here, maybe trying to get Kerry Von Erich a little bit too psyched up, a little bit too overwrought. You wear yourself out jumping around like that, says Patera to Kerry Von Erich. Patera and Von Erich. Got to give Patera credit. This week, Kerry Von Erich in a battle with former world champion Jack Briscoe on tap. Finesse against muscle when Briscoe and Patera square off. And give Kerry Von Erich some credit. He'll be teaming with Dick the Bruiser against Von Roschke and Dick Murdoch. Important matches, critical matches. A little bit of arguing there about the knee of Ken Patera. Of course, Patera is back in action after undergoing knee surgery. But he's back at full strength now. Patera laid one in there. Von Erich threw a punch back. And they eye one another. They know the importance here. There's electricity in the air. Side headlock by Kerry Von Erich on Ken Patera. Patera trying to stretch out that neck. The neck that is as broad as a telephone pole. Patera lifts Kerry Von Erich, trying to throw him away, and he does it, pitches him off. Pure power there. Oh, a drop kick by Kerry Von Erich. Arm drag by Kerry Von Erich. The crowd comes to its feet yelling. Good move by Kerry Von Erich. Patera muscled him away, threw him away, and when Patera took time to strut and flex those muscles, Kerry nailed him with a drop kick and then an arm drag. Patera reaches up for the hair, and then a head scissors by Patera on Kerry Von Erich. The referee, who was watching the shoulders of Patera, simply couldn't see what Patera did to gain that head scissors. No fault there because if the referee wasn't looking at the shoulders, everybody in the building would have been yelling, "Watch his shoulders!" Hard to be 2 places or 3 places at once. Patera knew it. He took advantage of it. And I guess when you think about it, that's no worse than a baseball pitcher throwing a spitball, is it? It's bending the rule book a little bit, too.
They do it in all sports.
You better believe it. From hockey on down. In hockey, they'll interfere with a man going down the ice. Hook him with their stick, even though it's illegal. But they're using the rule book because they know the referee can't see everything. How much holding goes on the offensive and defensive lines of a football game that the officials simply cannot detect. And the players know it. They take advantage of it. It's a profession. You're in there to win. You win any way you can. The winners get the big money. The losers don't. Patera and Kerry Von Erich know it, just as Dusty Rhodes knows it, because he's the big winner of them all right now. And Nature Boy Ric Flair wants that spot that Dusty Rhodes has. He'll try the figure 4 leg lock. He'll try the suplex. He'll try the elbow drop. He'll try the pile drive. He'll try it all to take that gold medal away from Dusty Rhodes. And Patera staggers through the ropes and outside the ring. Patera, frustrated, scowling as he walks outside the ring. Patera complaining. At this point, it's Kerry Von Erich's agility that's been the difference in the match. The ability to take to the air for those drop kicks. They seem to have unnerved Patera a little bit. Patera and Kerry tie up. It's a side headlock by Patera on Kerry Von Erich. And of course, Kerry's brother, David, has a big challenge ahead of him coming up, too. A lot of pressure on Kerry's brother, David Von Erich. Kerry reaching inside, trying to come out with a wrist lock, and this could be the first real test of strength between these two men, a test of power, a test of might between Kerry Von Erich. Oh, and Patera pulls the hair. Eddie Smith saw it. He wants the hole broken, a knee to the head. And then Patera with a front face lock. Nice chancery. Yanks Kerry Von Erich over. Count of 2, and Kerry gets his shoulders up, but Patera stays right on top. It's so easy to underestimate guys like Patera, like Flair. As far as their basic wrestling ability, you see the blonde hair, you see the gaudiness, you see the color, and you really overlook the things that they can do as far as quickness and as far as basic fundamental wrestling.
5 minutes have passed, 5 minutes left.
Oh, Patera nailed Kerry Von Erich. Kerry took some time to strut himself, and Patera really clobbered him. Patera ends up almost on top of the referee. Drop kick by Kerry. Patera manages to keep his feet. Patera with a forearm smash. Kerry caught in the corner. The arm whip. Oh, Kerry reverses it, and Patera is slammed into the buckles by Kerry Von Erich. Knee lifted to the stomach by Patera. You look at the physiques on those two guys. Talk about the kind of athletes these guys are, the things that Patera... Look out! He's going for the suplex! Patera with the suplex on Kerry Von Erich. Did you see how he just lifted that 250-pound in the air with virtually one arm? Hooking the head, and then with one arm lifting Kerry's body up. And a 1, 2, and Kerry shoves Patera off. Look at the athletic credentials in that ring now. Kerry Von Erich, national record holder in discus. Set all sorts of records as a freshman in college. Would have gone to the 1980 Olympics in the discus. He was in high school All-American in football and in track and field. Ken Patera, possibly the greatest international weightlifter ever. His brother, the coach of the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL. You have two splendid athletes in there, and you look at those physiques. Let me tell you, they could give up each half, and there would be enough for any 20 people in this building. And they'd still be power-packed. Kerry Von Erich with a leg lock on Ken Patera. Kerry pulling back on that leg, twisting the ankle. Patera is strong. A lot of upper body strength. What if Kerry can wear down that leg, that bad knee, the knee that underwent surgery? If the pins are weak, maybe the monument will topple. That's what Kerry Von Erich's thinking about as he punishes the leg of Ken Patera. Jack Briscoe, take note.
3 minutes left, 3 minutes.
In fact, I think it's safe to say that Jack Briscoe will be asking everyone who's seen this match how'd it go. What weak spots did Von Erich find? What things can I use against Patera? Patera pounding on Kerry Von Erich now. Von Erich thrown right through the ropes and out of the ring down to the concrete floor. Patera limping around, favoring that leg, and Kerry took a hard spill on concrete floor. There goes Patera out after him. Ken Patera going down to ringside and after Kerry Von Erich. Patera going behind Von Erich, lifting him into the air. Atomic knee drop. An atomic knee drop. Outside the ring, Kerry staggering down to the concrete floor. Patera has hurt Von Erich. Von Erich down on the floor. He has a count of 20. And Eddie Smith begins that count now. Where's your pretty boy now? Yells Patera. Patera coming out after him. Patera pounds on the back of Kerry Von Erich once more. Another smash to the back of Kerry Von Erich. Von Erich fighting back. Von Erich a punch to Patera's head, spinning him around. Smith trying to get the men back into the ring. Both men are back. Patera on top of Von Erich. A knee to the head by Ken Patera. Von Erich comes flying off the rope. The clothesline by Von Erich dropped. Von Erich dropped by that clothesline. Oh, the elbow drop misses. A second elbow drop misses. Patera just incensed that he can't put Kerry Von Erich away. He misses that punch. And Von Erich, is that a sleeper? He's trying to put a sleeper on Ken Patera. They're in the ropes though, and the referee calling for a break. Smith trying to break it up. Finally, Von Erich pulled away. Kerry leaps over the top rope and back into that ring. Patera down on the mat. Von Erich going for the claw. Von Erich going for the iron claw.
1 minute left. 1 minute.
1 minute remaining. Kerry Von Erich cannot quite get that iron claw onto Ken Patera. Patera calling on all his strength right now to keep that claw off his head. A kick to the stomach by Patera. What a sensational duel between Kerry Von Erich and Ken Patera. Patera misses with that shoulder. Jackknife, cradle, this could be it. Von Erich has Patera's shoulders down, but Patera uses his leg against the head of Kerry Von Erich to get free. Von Erich caught in the small package, a front rolling cradle by Patera. Patera nearly getting a pin on Von Erich. Patera with a blast to the stomach. Kerry fighting right back. Von Erich and Patera toe-to-toe. Patera staggering against the ropes. Back rolling cradle into the reverse. The reverse rolling cradle by Von Erich, but there's the bell. The time limit has expired. And this match between Kerry Von Erich and Ken Patera ends in a slam-bang time limit draw. What a match. Here's Mickey Garagiola.
With time running out, referee Eddie Smith declares the match a draw. A draw. Introducing from Greensboro, North Carolina, weighing 136 pounds, Carol Summers. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, weighing 135 pounds, Jill Fontaine. From Atlanta, Georgia, weighing 138 pounds, Joyce Grable. From Dallas, Texas, weighing 155 pounds, Wendy Richter. Referee Eddie Smith, Lee Warren. Get the hell out of here.
Mickey Garagiola says they're worse than Bulldog Bob Brown. Wendy Richter and Joyce Grable were complaining to Mickey the whole time. I might add the belts they're removing are symbolic of their claim to be the World Ladies Tag Team Champions. Now they won from Lilani Kai and Judy Martin. So Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter, who claim to be the Ladies Tag Team rulers, decide who's going to start. It's Joyce Grable beginning against Carol Summers. Grable and Summers circle. Grable with a wrist lock on Carol Summers. Down goes Summers. Nice move by Carol Summers into a hammerlock on Joyce Grable. Well, there's no doubt which team this crowd is cheering for. They are standing in roaring approval for Jill Fontaine and Carol Summers. They'd love to see them knock off the blonde duo, the Blonde Bombers, of Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter. That's a good name for them, the Blonde Bombers, believe me. They are a
They are.
bombastic combination. What was Wendy mad at you about? What'd you do, insult her?
No, I didn't say a word. It was one of the fans said something to her, and she tried to get me to get on her side, and I didn't know what it was all about. Boy, I'll take Bulldog Brown. I'll take Brown. I'll take Kaniski. I'll take Brew. Anyway, these girls are tough.
Poor Mickey's had a rough day already.
And Ox Baker, don't forget Ox Baker. I like to throw him in, too.
Wendy Richter might throw him right out. Grable with a smash to the back of Carol Summers. Another forearm smash, drops Summers. Tag made to Wendy Richter. Grable hangs on to Summers for Wendy. Richter twists the arm of Carol Summers, spins it around again. And with a flip, puts Carol Summers down on the mat. Leg drop into the arm of Carol Summers by Wendy Richter. And Richter is just non-stop. She's like a tornado gone berserk. I can't believe the energy that girl has. Grable punishing the arm of Summers from outside the ring. Richter, of course, last weekend on Wrestling at the Chase, went to a stalemate with Jill Fontaine. Each girl coming up with a fall before time expired. Carol Summers countering. Richter misses the tag with Joyce Grable. Richter gets to the ropes. Summers releases the arm lock. Richter taking her time coming away from those ropes, and now Joyce Grable calls Wendy Richter over for a conference. Richter into hammerlock on Summers. Flying mare by Summers. And there's an arm lock again by Summers on Wendy Richter. Forearm smash. Drops Summers. Oh, she's got a mean streak. Mean streak like Nature Boy Ric Flair will certainly have when he steps into the ring with Dusty Rhodes. Ric Flair, one of the most spectacular young wrestlers to step into the business in many a year. A man who brings to mind people like Buddy Rogers and Gorgeous George. A man who says he is the best. But there's one problem. Dusty Rhodes has the gold belt. And that means that Dusty Rhodes, until somebody can prove differently, is the best, because Dusty Rhodes is the world champion. And Ric Flair is going to have to prove it to Rhodes inside that squared circle, the best of three falls. Rhodes, who's been riding the high wave ever since he took the crown from Harley Race in Atlanta on June 21st. Rhodes defending that title against worthy contenders everywhere. Constantly in demand for interviews, for appearances. Summers trying to mount the ropes before she could get up on the ropes. Grable pulled her down from those ropes and pulls back with a chin lock on Summers. But at least Summers managed to avoid being hurled into that corner. As we were saying, the demands on the ropes. Look out, here goes Wendy Richter flying into the ring. Richter was up on the ropes. She wanted to yell advice to Joyce Grable. Fontaine started jiggling those ropes, and Richter fell right over the top and into the ring. As we were saying, the question about Rhodes, you have to wonder right now, will his attention be diverted with all of the demands on his time, all the travel, all the people wanting to interview him? Will that take something away from his preparation for the match with Flair? He cannot afford to let that happen, because Ric Flair, don't forget, held Harley Race to a spectacular one-hour draw just last April here. He had Race in a lot of trouble. Everybody agrees that this man, Nature Boy Ric Flair, has what it takes to become the world heavyweight champion. Summers hung upside down in the corner by Grable and Richter.
5 minutes of elapsed, 15 minutes left.
Summers still hung upside down in that corner, and Wendy Richter stomping on the stomach. There's Grable reaching inside to strangle Carol Summers. Richter and Grable, as rough and as mean as Von Raschke and Dick Murdoch will probably be against Kerry Von Erich and Dick the Bruiser. Raschke and Murdoch couldn't be any rougher, any meaner, I don't think, than Richter and Grable. An elbow smash by Wendy Richter. Summers shaken by Richter. Summers throws a punch to the stomach, another punch to the stomach of Wendy Richter. Richter dragging the face of Summers along that hard taped rope. Come on, Wendy, yells Joyce Grable to her partner. The elbow smash misses. Down goes Richter. Tag made to Jill Fontaine. Fontaine has a bone to pick with Wendy Richter. Drop kick. A little low. Almost missed connection because Richter tried to get out of the way. Tag made to Grable. Richter thrown across the ring. Grable grabs Fontaine by the hair. Richter with a kick to the stomach. I do think Grable is the proper entrant in the ring. Yes, she is. The referee straightening that out. Grable put Fontaine down with a knee to the head. Fontaine whipped to the ropes. Fontaine leapfrogs over the top. Flying cross body block by Jill Fontaine. Grable throws Fontaine off, although Richter is there to help break it up if necessary. Fontaine twisting the arm of Grable. A forearm to the back puts Grable down to one knee. Here comes Richter again. I think she's taking lessons from Dick Murdoch on how to be nasty. She's breaking every rule in the book and then some.
And holding a running conversation with it.
Oh, she's something else. Tag made to the explosive Wendy Richter by Joyce Grable. Richter bounces Fontaine off the ropes. Fontaine leapfrogs over the top again. Oh no, Richter retreating. She knew what might be coming there, that flying cross body block. Instead it's a monkey flip. Drop kick right to the chest, levels Wendy Richter. Richter whipped to the ropes. Oh, Richter stopped herself and misses with a kick. Thrown to land at the head of Jill Fontaine. Fontaine lifts Richter for a body slam. Fontaine hits the ropes. Giant splash misses. As Richter will, here comes Grable. Grable hitting the ropes. And she misses with a giant splash on Fontaine. Summers tries a giant splash at Grable and she misses.
If the help center better put water in this ring, I'll tell you, they're really diving around.
Yeah, but Richter didn't miss. She nailed Summers right in the small of the back with that diving splash. Summers is hurt from that collision with Wendy Richter, and all four girls are battered right now. Summers grabs the arm of Wendy Richter. Fontaine has the arm of Grable, and Grable and Richter are... Oh, they caught arms. Come on, but drop kicks and miss. They missed the drop kicks after avoiding being rammed together. Lee Warren has to look at which two girls belong inside the ring. Eddie Smith trying to explain who belongs in there. Richter's outside the ring on one side, and Joyce Grable's out on the other. Richter's flat on her belly down the concrete floor, and she has a count of 20 to get back in that ring. Wendy Richter very upset with one of the fans as she begins to get back in there. She's taking full advantage of that count to try and regain her breath. Wendy Richter back up on the apron. Well, everything went wrong for Richter and Grable right there. Fontaine and Summers making their presence known now. Fontaine hooks the arms of Richter and catapults her clear across the ring. Fontaine again going for that double leg catapult. Into the air goes Richter. Her ribs must be disintegrated. Oh, the giant splash comes right down across the knees of Wendy Richter. For all her wildness, she uses her head. She got those knees up and caught Jill Fontaine right in the stomach. Fontaine hurled to the ropes and dropped by Wendy Richter with a forearm smash. Another smash drops Jill Fontaine. That Richter is so big and tough she can take the punishment. She still comes back. It's like she hasn't taken a lump at all.
10 minutes have passed, 10 minutes left.
And I got to tell you something about Wendy Richter. She's got some bruises on her thighs. I can see a welt on her ribs. She's taken some beating in this match, but she's still able to come back, storm back. She just won't quit. Grable puts Fontaine down after gouging the eyes. Fontaine dropped. Most of the blows actually by Grable and Richter are forearm smashes that makes them legal punches. Grable right on top of Summers. Flying, oh, look at Summers, stop that. A catapult catching herself, a cartwheel and a drop kick. A second drop kick puts Joyce Grable down. A third drop kick misses. Oh, Grable suckered her in. She lured her in, and Summers tried that drop kick, and it missed because Grable stepped back. Grable, using her head, got out of the way. Richter a backflip. They catch Summers in the air. Oh, and Summers throwing down heavily on her neck and shoulders. Richter then catches Fontana frog smash, knocking her off the apron. I guess you would call that a reverse body slam by Joyce Grable as she literally dropped Carol Summers right on her head with a little bit of help from Wendy Richter. Well, I guess that's why they have the belts. That proves they are claimants of the World Ladies Tag Team title. Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter, as rough and as exciting as you can expect from any tag team combination. Here's Mickey.
11 minutes and 11 seconds, reverse body slam, the winning team of Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter. Nice going, girl.
Thanks for being on hand for Volume 5 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. Volume 6 is just around the corner. One of the highlights, the feud between Harley Race and Ted DiBiase, will really break out anew. And we have a special match from Japan. Two of the biggest stars in St. Louis were King Kong Brody and Dory Funk Jr. Well, they were stars everywhere around the world, and we have highlights of a battle between Dory Funk Jr. and King Kong Brody from Japan for Volume 6 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. Doesn't it take you all back? Aren't the memories great? Doesn't it tell you why St. Louis was the magic city of wrestling? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Ooh, there's a good shot. Reverse neck breaker. Whoa.
The bank, brother. What comes out of Ric Flair's mouth is as good as gold. Because I don't mind sweating. I don't mind bleeding. I don't mind paying the price. As long as I get what I want. And what I want is the biggest gold of them all. Harley Race. Be